Hey, welcome back to the channel, Bookworms and Constant Readers. So, it's been a while since I did a video. I knew this was going to happen. This is finals week, and usually the last 3 weeks of the semester are the worst. And so I'm a little bit behind on reading. So I thought I would take this time to explain to you why there hasn't been a video, but also to talk about the plans for my channel over the summer. I basically have, after Friday, I am pretty much free until August, I think 21st is when we go back. And really quick, a couple of you have asked, like, what exactly is it that I do? So I'll answer that real quick. This video shouldn't be too long. So I am in graduate school. I'm working on my master's degree in geography. And I was lucky enough for the last 2 years to get what they call a graduate assistantship. And what you do is you're assigned a professor or professors to work under. And you're basically like their assistant. Anytime, excuse me, anytime like a student needs help, they're allowed to email you instead of the professor. And so you have to answer student emails. You have to do grading for that professor. It's a wide range of things. Sometimes it's just making copies. Sometimes it's putting scantrons in alphabetical order. I've had to do answer keys for future grad students. Usually when a professor asks you to do that, it's because they haven't taught the course in a while. And so they either don't have a key for the assignments, or the key that they have is old and they don't use it anymore. The lesson has been updated and they want you to make one for them. I've had to do that this semester and last semester. And then you have to do stuff for the department as well. So in the geography department, we have this huge computer lab. It's got like 30, 40 computers in it. And when there's no class in that lab, they have us graduate students watch the lab. You're just making sure that nobody's taking anything, nobody's breaking anything. People who are not in the geography department shouldn't be in there. If students have any questions, if they need like any supplies like printer paper or staples or whatever, I usually am just in my office that's right next to the lab. I don't have to be in there. So you're allowed to do other stuff. And then on top of all that, you're expected to go to your classes. You're expected to work on your thesis and get your own work done on top of this other stuff. Some of the stuff that you also do for the department is if they have visitors and stuff coming to campus, departments will set up like these tables to let like future students know about the department, know what's going on in the department. So you'll go and sit at these tables, answer questions from possible future students and their parents. You do but you do all this work for the department and for the professors that you work for, and in return, the university pays your tuition, which is a huge help, and then you also get a bi-monthly stipend. So twice a month, you get a paycheck for doing this work. And that's why I'm so busy, because not only do I have my schoolwork and my thesis to work on, but I have stuff that I have to do for the department and professors in the department. So yeah, a couple of you asked about that. That's what I do. So what is in store for the summer? So I have about 130 pages to go on the blade itself. I'm almost finished. So that will be the next video that comes out. And then after Joe Abercrombie's The Blade itself, we'll be doing another Stephen King. And this is another time I mentioned in the last video, but I'll mention it here. We're going out of publication order. So I read Joyland. Next on the list should be Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep isn't going to come for a while because I'm going to do it once I get to the end and start at the beginning. When I read The Shining, I will do Dr. Sleep, since Dr. Sleep is a sequel to The Shining. So we're going ahead with the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. That will also take us out of publication order 2 more times, because in between each of the Mr. Mercedes books, the Bill Hodges trilogy, he wrote other books. So after Mr. Mercedes, before I think it's Finders Keepers came out, he did Revival. We will come back to Revival after we finish the Bill Hodges trilogy. I'm going to do all 3 books in a row, and then we'll come back to it. And then in between Finders Keepers and End of Watch, he did Bazaar of Bad Dreams with his son. So we'll come back to it after the trilogy is over. We'll do Revival, then we'll do Bazaar of Bad Dreams, and carry on in publication order until the next deviation, which I'm not sure there is one. There might be one more before we reach the newest book of his. The big book that I'm doing for the summer, I want to get it done before I go back to school. I've been wanting to read this book forever. This is a little preview of my spring book haul, because I recently bought this and I've already started it. And it's Victor Hugo's Les Mis. This thing is gigantic. This is the Penguin Classics limited edition or deluxe edition. Deluxe edition. It's got a very cool cover. It's got these little inserts on the front as well as the back. It's got the deckled edges, make it look like an old book. I've been wanting to read this for like ever. But it's always super thick, super long. It's written in a foreign language. These were all excuses to keep putting it off. And this is something I've wanted to read long before I started this channel. I've been into BookTube years before this channel started. And this is one book that kept coming up on other people's channels that they talk about how much they love this book and how this is like one of the greatest books ever written. And if you read a lot of like book reviews or greatest books ever written list, this is always like top 3. So being a huge book nerd, to me it's like a book I need to read. I know very little about what it's about. I know it takes place during the French Revolution. It deals with its main character, Jean Valjean, and he gets this really harsh prison sentence for stealing a loaf of bread to feed, I think it's his starving sister. And he gets out and he keeps getting into trouble, and then he gets into trouble that he can't get out of, and he goes on the run. And it's basically about his life. It's about this French inspector who is obsessed with catching Jean Valjean. And Jean Valjean actually becomes like this model citizen, very like wealthy and everything. And nobody knows like he's this wanted criminal. But there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot of side plots and everything besides that I don't know about. That's what I am really curious to read. So I started it already. Also, we're going to be getting back into some of these series that I've kind of neglected, like The Expanse. I want to start getting into those. Also, the Dresden Files. I haven't done those in a while. And that is a huge series. It's like 19 books. So those are things that I'm going to concentrate on over the summer. We'll continue on with Stephen King, of course. It's just going to take a little bit longer to read books, going back to reading 2 books at once. And plus, I still have schoolwork to do. I have to work on my thesis this summer as well. So usually when I read 2 books, I just alternate the days. So I'll read 1 book one day, and if I have, a half hour, an hour, 2 hours, or whatever to read that day, I'm focused on 1 book. And then the next day, I'm focused on a different book. And I alternate between the 2 to get through them. So hopefully next week will be the review for The Blade itself. And then I will start Mr. Mercedes. Hopefully that doesn't take but a week or 2. And over the summer you will see regular videos pop up on the channel. As far as how I'm going to tackle Les Mis, this book is written in 5 parts. So I'm going to do 5 different videos on this. I will do a video for each part. Each part is roughly around 300 pages. And then I might do like a final wrap-up. That's the only way I know how to cover everything I want to cover with these giant books, is just take it in chunks. I did it with The Way of the Kings. When I get to book 2 of the Stormlight Archives, I plan on doing that again. I just think it works better for the channel than reading. This book is 1,400 pages. It will be the longest book that I've ever read. I'm trying to remember what to talk about in a book this size. It's kind of impossible. And so that's how I'm going to tackle videos with that. So part 1 is called Fantine. Once I finish that, I'll put out a video for that and talk about part 1. Then I'll read part 2. We'll talk about it, and so on. That's all I have for you in this video. Till next time, read more books.